They keep talking about everybody needs to create a series on their channel. Well, I don't know about that. But I've spent the last few days working up a few stories of encouragement that encouraged me throughout my life. And I'm compiling it, and I'm trying to turn it into something that might be interesting to other people. And I think I've worked out a title. It's going to be a playlist on my main channel, and it's going to read "While We're Still Here." Because just because I'm retired doesn't mean I'm done. Like old Mike says, if you ain't dead, you ain't done. And so I'm not dead, and so I'm not done. So while we're still here, let's figure out what we want to do, what we don't want to do. If just sitting on the porch drinking coffee is, if that's what you want to do, then that's wonderful. You've found what you want to do. But I wanted to create a few stories talking about people that at the age of 60, 65, 70, 80 took on not just continuing to work, but took on a whole new career. Their life expanded in ways they never saw coming, and how they dealt with it, and how their success is a roadmap for what we can do or not do. I just throw this out there because, like somebody told me one time, when a minister has a sermon, part of that sermon is for him. And once he realizes that part of that, he needs that sermon just as much as everyone in that church. The moment he realizes that, his sermons get a whole lot better. Hopefully my videos will get better. I'm not flashy, I'm not loud, I'm not jumping for joy. You're not going to find that on a 70-year-old's channel. But I'll tell you the truth, and I'll be honest with you, and I share with you what motivates me. And I have a story that I want to share with you. You may have already heard of it. I heard it years ago, did a little research on it, and I thought I would use this one as the first one of the While We're Still Here series. Have you ever noticed how the world tells a man when he's supposed to be done? When the mill gave me my retirement papers, I put in for it, but they were done. Here's the money we set aside for you for your pension. We're done. Bye. Now, some of the men I worked with were sad to see me go, but let's be honest, some of those other men were happy to see me go. And that's okay. I didn't go to work there to make friends. I went there to earn a living, earn a pension. So after I'm gone, my wife has more money coming in than she would have if I wouldn't have been working there. So when they tell a man that you're supposed to be done at 65, 68, in my case 67, 66 and a half, they give you a gold watch, a pat on the back, and they say enjoy that retirement. Well, I only worked 8 years at the mill, so I didn't get a gold watch. But the men I worked with, especially the last year and a half, as I sprayed to sanitize the mill for COVID, they gave me a pat on the back. And they gave me a sincere, enjoy your retirement. As one of the men put it, Mr. Cobb, you're the hardest working man I've ever worked with out here. You've earned the retirement. That stuck with me. But today I want to talk about an individual named Harland Sanders. Now, he wasn't a celebrity or a genius investor. He ran a little roadside restaurant in Kentucky. Well, he did until the highway moved. And just like that, the traffic was all gone. You know, we never think about that. We build up a business, and when I had a business, I actually felt like I was confined, like I was in a cage. I couldn't go out to try to get more business because I had to stay right there to take care of that business, to be there when people came in, to be there when people called. So if they would have taken away the road, it means that the business is gone. I can imagine pouring your whole life into a place and then the road shifts. Most men would have said, okay, that's it. He was 65. But instead, he took his last Social Security check of $105. It's been a while ago. He got in his car and he started driving from state to state, sleeping in the back seat sometimes to save money. He would walk into a restaurant and say something like, let me cook you some chicken. If you like it, you can pay me a nickel for every piece you sell. Now think about that for a minute. A man in his late 60s, knocking on doors, getting told no again and again and again. Over 1,000 times. I've spent time on sales and you get to know the word no way better than you want to. I have been told no so many times. In another video, I shared a story about a boss that told me, you're going to get 95 no's before you get a yes. So you have two choices. Let the no's defeat you, or with every no you get, you start to get excited for that yes, because you know it's coming. The law of averages are working in your favor. But that doesn't take away from the pain sometimes of getting the no's. But Harland, he kept driving. And somewhere along the way, those nickels turned into franchisees. And that little fried chicken recipe, well, we all know that became KFC. But here's the part I really love. The white suit, the string tie, the face on the bucket of chicken. Man, we were so happy when I was a kid and Dad would bring a bucket of that chicken home. It meant he got a little bit more money that week in the pay envelope. We didn't get that all the time. I think kids today, and I'm guilty of it, I spoil my granddaughter horribly. But she's the last, and I'm being selfish. I'm enjoying time with her as much as I can. And so I know I'm spoiling her, but the kid's so good she's not accepting the spoilage. She's still a great kid. But we would get that bucket of chicken, and it was such a special treat. But you know what? The bucket and the white suit and the string tie and the southern drawl when he talked in his commercials, that wasn't a young man's brand. That was an older man who refused to disappear. Think about that. He refused to disappear. You can take the highway and move it away from me, but you couldn't take the salesman away from Harland. He was a salesman. He sold chicken, and he was going to sell it whether he had the highway in front of his store or not. That's the part about the story that just sticks with me. He didn't start young. He was already 65. Now, I'm not telling you to go get a chicken franchise. I don't mean that at all. What I'm saying is, if you're 65, 70, 75, and you still feel that little nudge in your chest that says, there's more in me. There's more in me that I want to do while we're still here. There's such hope in that statement. While we're still here, there's so much we can do. If you want to. Like I said, my grandfather, by the time I came along, my dad was the baby of the family, and he had already had 40 grandchildren. It was a big family, and he was tired. So sitting on that porch, whittling, making little whistles sometimes, that was his retirement. That was enough for him. He had his 3 hots and a cot, and he could sit on the porch and chew his tobacco and whittle. He wasn't always real nice. He was old, he was grumpy, and he had things he wanted to do. He wanted to whittle those whistles. But here's an interesting part. He was whittling those whistles for those 40 grandchildren. Men don't always say, I love you. Sometimes they whittle you a whistle. But I'm drifting. So don't let the calendar bully you. Sometimes the road moves, sometimes the shops close. Sometimes the company says we're restructuring, but that doesn't mean you're done. It just means that you might have to get back in the car and drive. And maybe, just maybe, the best chapter of your life isn't the one behind you. It's the one that you're stubborn enough to write. So, as always, be well, be safe, and be happy. I'm Grandpa Chuck. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye now.